Hello everyone, welcome to a brand new series on the channel. The game that started it all. And a game that I personally never started with. So this will be my first time ever playing the original Final Fantasy. But what little research I've done is just that you actually create your 4 party members and you can choose from a couple of starting classes, and basically I just was like, when I saw Monk, it just harked me back to one of the very first Dungeons and Dragons games I ever ran as a DM, and I had a table of 3 players but nobody wanted to be a healer, so I made a little DMPC healer character to play them around. And so the 4 Warriors of Light, that's their term, the kind of heroes of the game. So the 4 Warriors of Light are going to basically be the 4 characters from my very first D&D game. So shout out to all the players whose characters you'll recognize. So we have Heyma, who is a red mage, and they're kind of like the jack of all trades classes typically in D&D. They can do like a bit of magic, a bit of weapons. So that's kind of their shtick. And then we have Serena the White Mage, Faelindel the Thief, and Orvein the Monk. And we are going to begin our adventure here. And there's no voiced cutscenes or anything, so I get to read! The world lies shrouded in darkness. The winds die. The seas rage. The earth decays. So the world is not in a good state anyway. But the people believe in a prophecy, patiently awaiting its fulfillment. When darkness veils the world, 4 warriors of light shall come. After a long journey, 4 young travelers did at last appear. And in the hand of each was clutched a crystal. Blue, orange, red, and green. And you'll see I was reading, being like, that's grand, and then I immediately forget the entire control scheme. So, but tab is to enter the menu, and moving up and down is WASD. I thankfully leave the map on. Thank God it never accidentally turned it off. But yeah, so we enter the village of Comelia, and I was like, okay, we're here. And then what I was trying to do, and I've since not looked at any spoilers, but I was trying to figure out, okay, where is the menu button? So it's the shift key. Let's see, there's the map. We have our inn with a little bed, a kind of potions and item shop with the teapot, and then our weapons with the sword, our armory with the shield, and then our black and white magic shops. And thankfully I was like, oh, it reminded me that I can pull up the control screen. And so what I was wanting to do is just to walk around as Serena, but then I was like, no, I know order is kind of like your kind of front line to back lines, like the more higher up I think the more higher up a character is, the more likely they are to be attacked. So I was like, oh, well, actually, no, I don't want that. And then I was noticing, oh, the like highlighted box is on Heyma. So then I was like, oh, what, is there a way for me to like change like the highlighted box to like make Heyma no longer the like walk aroundy character? But I haven't figured that out. So if anyone knows how to change your character, if you can you leave it in the comments, because I just would like to walk around as my little white mage. But yeah, immediately I was like, okay, well, I just want to like have a look at the equipment, like what can we equip ourselves with, what's the money situation. And I was like, okay, so like definitely like the nunchucks are definitely giving me monk vibes with the kung fu action. And yeah, at that point I was like, right, so I'm definitely getting like the nunchucks. And then I was like, I get that like the staves were the more magic variant for the white mage, but you can give them like a hammer to be more physically offensive. But then I was like looking, being like, how much these cost? And I was like, 8. Oh my god, so cheap. So that's what that kind of was the first thing that threw me, because like obviously like nowadays it's like weapons are the expensive thing and like items are really cheap, but this game is nearly the inverse. Like to get equipment seems really cheap, at least. Well, like look, it's the starting area, it might be different, but like to get a couple of potions it was like fairly expensive, you know. But yeah, so I bought Orvein, our monk. He started with a staff, which I was like, interesting choice there. But we're going to equip him with the nunchucks to give him the exact same accuracy and just baseline extra strength. So like we love that for him. And then for Faelindel, I was like, no, like he can just stay with the knife. I kind of wanted Heyma to kind of be like a bit of the tank and like, you know, biggest physical damage, and then he can have like the lighter weapons to kind of get maybe more attacks in succession with smaller weapons. Again, I'm not really sure, but I'm just going with like the aesthetic. I'm like, you know, I want my rogue to have like daggers and knives. I want my red mage to kind of be in heavier armor and like a good physical weapon, you know? And then obviously my white mage to have like, you know, just a staff or whatever to boost the magic. But yeah, there's sections here where I was just like, why can't I just change my person? So, again, not sure what the best way to do that is. But yeah, like this was just such a little nostalgia trip for me, just like with my different characters, going back to my first D&D game. And like, a little bit of a spoiler, I am hoping to do Baldur's Gate 3 as like another series on the channel. But I had a couple of I was out of intent to be honest, and I was just like, oh, I just want something like completely fresh, completely new, just completely blind. And I had this sitting on my Steam account for a while, and I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna plug it in, play for a bit, and put up a video, basically. But yeah, just like, again, hopefully the guys who played these characters originally will be like on the videos and can just leave a comment. But yeah, like for an old game, it's like everything's fairly interconnected in terms of like your offense, and then like heavier armor lessens your evasion and everything. Like it's all kind of a delicate balance, and I'm assuming weight impacts your agility or like, you know, turn order to kind of go first and things. Like there's obviously like an optimal thing, but I just was worried that like it would get rid of the knife off the thief. But I was a bit of a fool and I didn't go to the inn first. I went later in the episode, but they actually explain the whole like magic system. And basically there are different levels of magic like in D&D, and essentially your character can only know 3 of each leveled spell. So I essentially made Serena my like pure like defensive white mage, but I gave her Dia because you know, I was like, well, like, you know, it's specifically for undead. There's probably going to be like, they're probably really dangerous to fight without this spell. So, you know, it seems like a white mage only dealio. Like, the red mage couldn't even learn it. Like, the red mage could learn Cure, but he couldn't learn Blink or that. So, you know, I then decided, okay, I have the 3 spells there for Serena, and then I was like, yeah, so we will just get our 3 spells for our black mage, or for our red mage, I should say. So I went for fire, sleep, and thunder, just for elemental variety rather. But what I learned from the tutorial, which I should have gone to first, but you actually can only learn 3, and then once your character has all that memory used up, they basically have to like unlearn other first level spells. And also that each spell like rank, so level 1 spells, level 2 spells, level 3 spells, they all only have 4 spells per thing, so it's like a limited catalogue. But obviously certain classes can only learn up to certain levels and things, and they can only learn 3 from each. But what I did find really cool is that that dancer girl is basically your like little guidance map to where you need to go next. But yeah, then I was like, oh, it's items that are super expensive. Oh, right, and then I sell my equipment for nothing. Oh god, so that was a bit stressful. But currently we have Heyma equipped with our chainmail. We have our, I keep going to say rogue. We have our thief in our leather armor. And obviously I'm just going to leave Serena in clothes at the moment. So we're now learning that like certain areas to the east has been a pirate den. And then I just was like, do I talk to you? And then thankfully he like progresses the story. Because once again, I'm going in completely blind. I have like no idea where I'm going or what I'm to do. But I just was like, okay, I'm in a town. Let's like provision. Because there's nothing worse when you start an RPG and it's like, did you equip your characters correctly? No? Well then, time for a tough time, sunshine. But, your majesty, you can't be certain these people are the ones that are foretold. And then the king says, yeah, they stand here with such crystals. And so crystal bearers, I would ask you to rescue my daughter Sarah. And Garland was a king's knight in the majesty's service, and he has abducted Princess Sarah. I would ask you to aid his majesty and the king of Cornelia. Garland has taken refuge in the Chaos Shrine, which lies to the north. Of course, we did attempt to rescue the princess herself, but Garland is the finest swordsman in the kingdom. So you 3 total strangers can totally deal with that, because you got magic crystals and stuff. And so he's going to then rebuild like the area we need to go to progress forward if we rescue her. So it's like first mission already out the gates. It's like... So sorry, I will stay focused and like read properly the cutscenes there. Sorry, I got a little bit distracted. But yeah, so we now have to go north to rescue the princess. And yeah, the graphics are super cute and like the music is super wholesome. And so there we see the ruined bridge there to the right. And then I'm like, oh. And we just queue in our attacks, and then our agility stats, I think, are taken into consideration, and then we get our turns. And now, did you might have seen there that, like, one of the characters got 2 hits with his weapon, so I think that's where, like, knives and lighter weapons get more hits, but they do maybe less damage, but again, can hit more. So it might be a more damage net. But yeah, like, really old school, art styles and all that as well. But we can even see that the enemies are also getting 1 hit, so that's super interesting. But again, it's the end of the game. Like, I don't think we're going to run into anything too scary. But what I didn't realize is that, like, oh, the thief can't steal. That was wild to me. I was just like, what? Sorry, I can only attack? And then, like, for some reason I was imagining, oh, like, do I get to unlock steel later, and no, I don't think that's happening. But then I was like, oh god, Orvein, our monk, already down to like 9 hit points, and I was like, oh lord. The stress already, because I paid all my money on spells, I couldn't afford like a potion, you know? But we level up. And here that I was like, oh, if we level up, does everything get restored? And yeah. Orvein, I was like, did he really just get like 26 more HP? But I think that was just his current HP was that low. From 30 to 54. 33 to 57. Yeah, like, unless it is literally that much of a fucking jump, that seems a bit wild. Yeah, I should have used the magic in the menu. Oh god! So yeah, starting off not on the best of feet, but hopefully we can just heal up here. Which we do, thank god. And it heals 32, which is like sizable, you know? And then with that good of aid, we're kind of back on a good stead. And close to another level up. But the spells, like, in terms of like MP and stuff, it is actually quite like D&D. Like, we have basically one first level spell back there. And yeah, I was obsessed with trying to find out how do I make this other character, like how do I walk around as Serena? But again, I don't think I have the answer to that. But the spell slots, so I have one first level MP left, so I can cast one more first level spell. And then obviously, like, as we're leveling up, we'll probably gain like second level spell slots, third level spell slots, fourth level. I'm not sure if it's only 4 levels. So that'll be fun to discover. But I did kind of think, okay, maybe I do have to gain some levels though to like, what's the word? Like, I wasn't sure how tough this boss fight was going to be, you know? But in my head I was like, well, I have good equipment, I guess, and we're not taking like crazy damage. But I just had to see fire for myself. So that was pretty cool. It was made a little bit less cool when like one whack of an unchuck did like 30, it's really like 10 more damage than a fire spell, but what can you do? And oh my god, when I saw that like poor Faelindel had 1 intellect, I hopped back to my D&D campaign where, yes, that Loveable Rogue. Oh, the mishaps he had sometimes. It was quite funny. But progressing northwards, we are going to go save this princess. But yeah, once again, having Heyma in the heavy armor, that was literally the goal, was that Heyma can at least be there and just tank out tons of damage, like taking only 1 damage there, which is brilliant. And so, in we go to the Chaos Shrine to go rescue the princess, but I was like, there might be some secrets hidden in the corners, and I was like, oh my god, that's such a cool transition. And then I started to panic, because I'm like, oh my god, skeletons, are these dangerous? Do I need Dia? And then I was like, I only have 1 spell slot left. So I was like, maybe I better not. And just attack. And so when I then realized, oh, they crumple in 1 hit, that's not too bad. They're not that spoopy. But I guarantee you, Dia will come in handy. There's definitely going to be some, like, super high level monster creature. And then, of course, I find a locked door. So I'm like, great. And then, of course, we find them 4 skeletons. And then I was like, I wonder, like, how strong is Dia? Just to have an idea of how strong it is. And I was like, oh, nice, okay. So that'll be good if we get to like more creepy undead dungeons. 1 turn, killed everything, love that for us. But then I was kind of like, oh, but now there's zombies, and are they much stronger, and should have been saving it for them. But then, thankfully, it was like, oh, no, they crumpled and fell too. So we're not doing too bad. But I really like the art style. I like the music. I like the scene transition. I like the battle system. Super cool with like, again, your spell slots mattering and like literally being like a D&D dungeon where it's like, oh, I actually only have like a couple of uses of a spell, so I have to make sure I use them wisely. And not just on a, oh, there's 4 skeletons, I know I can kill them one hit. Let's just see them all blow up in one turn. So that was maybe a bit unwise on my part. But we're also seeing ourselves getting like, preemptive strikes and whatnot. But what I am definitely noticing, at the very least, is that our monk with the nunchucks is just doing so much damage. And then I saw a nice leather cap, and I was like, ooh, armor, we love that for ourselves. So again, wanting Heyma just to be as strong as possible. She is our tanky girl. And so with 1 extra defense, we're going to pop on the leather cap. And I was then just quickly checking before I close out the menu. We do get Gil from battle, so like that is always a plus. And then I was like, ooh, these are definitely the type of enemy that are going to like poison, and I don't have poison removal. But thankfully I was like, oh thank god, just only 3 damage, which was nice. And what's surprising me as well is like White Mage is not just doing no damage, so she's just holding her own, our Serena is. We love that for her. And then getting like lots of boosts here, like again, Thieves. A bit frail on the strength side, a bit frail on the, well, HP side as well, like it's weird. So again, if the thief isn't stealing, I'm not quite sure why they're there. But then I stepped in and I was like, oh god, he's here. And then I was like, well, there wasn't really any major resistance. Maybe I can do this, even though I have no spell slots, no potions to heal, and no nothing. But sure, I'm only started. What's the worst that could happen? So Garden said, who's there? You're the king's lapdogs? Do you have any idea who you are? You really think you have what it takes to cross swords with me? And then I was like, oh, there was really cool like little transition thing, and then the music absolutely slaps, so I'm like, oh god, this is not good. But what I didn't really read, or I suppose realize, is that sleep affects all enemies, so that's really cool. And what I've learned now is that since we've gotten so many level ups, I actually have 4 uses of spell slots. And so with that sleep, he actually missed his turn, so that was super useful. And then I was kind of like, okay, I don't really think I have anything left spell-wise, so we just have to keep attacking him and hoping to god that we beat him before he beats us. And then I was like, oh god, 11 damage is actually quite a lot, and now Serena is doing no damage. So clearly there must be like slashing damage versus blunt damage or something, because the nunchucks and yeah, so I'm not sure what it is, unless it's just literally just straight up defense is really high or something. But I was like, oh god, I need my people to do better damage. And I was like, oh lord, 2, 8, 10 HP, 8 HP, I'm only doing 2 damage. And I was like, well, at this point I just have to keep hitting him and hoping that he goes down. So thank goodness is all I'll say. And we get a nice chunk of change and a nice good bit of EXP. And then we like rescue Princess Sarah. A job well done for ourselves. You came to rescue me. I'm Princess Sarah of Cornelia. Words can never express how much I need to thank you. It's the first time anyone's defeated him. You must allow me to take you back to my father. I need to like slow down because I cannot read that fast. Thank you for returning my daughter to my side. You can no doubt be the warriors of light in the prophecy. You should hear the prophecy. When darkness veils the land, the warriors of light shall come. If they cannot gather the shards of light, the darkness will consume us all. The 4 crystals will never shine again. Now that a hero crystal can be found in the continent to our north, and restoring the light to the crystal is our only hope of ridding the world of the monsters that plague it. We'll have to restore the bridge, and I pray we can succeed by returning the light to the people. And then the lute was entrusted to the princess of Queen Nia for many generations. When he abducted me, he took the lute as well. I want you to have it, and may it aid you on your journey. You obtained the lute. And there's even a fanfare, and I do nothing with it. I was like, cool, thanks. Will you tell me what it does? And it's like, if you wanted, you could. I mean, here in Cornelia. Oh no, it's nothing. So she just wants us to move in. You have to go on a journey and restore the light, but like, she definitely wants us to like move in. She, like, you know, we are the handsome adventurers that like saved her from peril. And then, if you find yourself astray, you should talk to the dancing girl and she'll tell you what to do. Which, like, love that for, like, a little bit of intuitive storytelling. It's like, what was I doing? Just talk to the dancer girl. We love that. And technically it should be Princess Sarah, not just Lady Sarah. But anyway, I will not begrudge him that. And then, this was super funny. I was like, this is so adorable. So, he's like, repairing this bridge will help us with the prophecy, so it just has to be done, boys. We're doing our part to fulfill Liu Kane's prophecy. And they just go really quickly and like and then it's like chunk rebuilding the bridge and stuff. Those are some great stonemasons, some great carpenters. We love that for them. And like, they didn't need to do this, but like, it was really adorable just to be like, here you go, the bridge is fixed. Onward you go on your merry way. And they're like, what does the bridge have to do with the prophecy? The 4 warriors of light are here. They're here in Cornelia, and they need to get out of here and go over that bridge. But then I was like, I would like to kind of stop recording now. So how do I save this game? Probably in the inn. There's probably like a save and rest feature or some such thing. And I was like, who are these? And then he just teaches about equipment. So I was like, oh no, but then I was like, actually, maybe I should. So equipment is set into 2 categories. Attack rating and the 4 armors to include your armor rating. Shields and held in one hand while helms go on the head. Remember that weapons and armor you find won't be any good unless you equip them in your inventory. And then this guy was all about items. And so he's basically saying, like, with antidotes and different things, you can use them and save your spell slots for like what matters. And you can also get like cottages and tents, and they're really useful for like out in the wild when you're not in a town where you can't rest, that you can like basically have like a short rest or a long rest really in D&D. It's like you can short rest, recover some HP, you can long rest, recover like your HP and MP with that tents and stuff. And then it tells about key items, and some key items have an effect when you use them from the inventory basically. And then this guy's just saying monsters have different weaknesses. So aquatic monsters are weak to thunder. Some monsters are more effective against certain weapon types. So that's when I kind of figured, oh, there must be like, you know, hammers do bludgeoning, daggers do slashing, and then there's the magical damage. And then, yeah, so each level of magic has distinct. However, a character can only learn 3 of the 4 spells of a particular magic level. So that I found fascinating. I was like, oh, so each level, so like level 1 spells, level 2 spells, they go up and up, but each level only has 4. So I don't know how many levels there are, but like let's say if there's 4 levels, that means there's only 16 spells in total, which is like a small catalogue, but I mean, I guess if they serve a specific function, fair play. But then 30 gil for, you know, a night's stay. And then I was like, oh, but it didn't say saving or anything, did it? I'm just going to watch here now in case it did. So maybe that did save the game. I like wasn't sure. And then I was like, oh, it won't let me save here. It was really stressful. I didn't really know what was going on. Again, you can tell this is a blind let's play. So I hope I'm not being a pain. But then I was like, do I have to save in here? What's the vibe? But yeah, what is cool is that I have 4 first level spells and 2 second level spells now, so it is nice that the MP is kind of growing really, really powerfully. But then I was like, I listened to the tutorial, I will get like 10 potions. And then I was like, oh, actually 50 is a lot. Like 50 is a good chunk of HP. And then I was like, I'll buy 1 MP, or 1 Ether, I should say. And I was like, why can't I buy multiple? And I'm like, oh my god, they're so expensive and I have so little money now. But then I said, I'll get a sleeping bag. Should be good. And then it was at this point, like, in my head, I was kind of like, if I don't figure out how to save, like, when am I meant to be finished this episode? And then I just was double checking, and it's like, why are you still here? Weren't you supposed to be crossing the bridge to the north? And so, I like that in the game system. I like that where it's like, it doesn't expressly tell you where to go, because you can't just explore, but if you are literally stuck and being like, where do I go? There is kind of a person you can talk to, like, this is roughly what you should be doing. And so I was like, okay, let's cross this bridge. And then we get a lovely little cutscene. And it's after this cutscene that I'm going to actually just finish this first episode. As I say, I know it's blind. It's very like flying by the seat of our pants. But I'm really enjoying it. And it might only be a once a week upload. But I'm looking forward to it. And so their quest began. As the 4 warriors of light, they felt overwhelmed by the great task destiny had placed before them. They didn't even know the true significance of the 4 crystals they held in their hands. The crystals that once, long ago, held a light that shone so brilliantly. The time for their journey had come. The time to cast off the veil of darkness and bring the world once more into light. So guys, this has been our first episode of Final Fantasy. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, leave a like on the series. I'd love to hear your feedback. Leave a comment. Subscribe if you're new to the channel. And I shall see you next time. Have a good one. Thanks for watching.